Here's a statement: there is nothing worse than a thief of any kind and of any sort. Here's a question: have you ever had anything stolen from you? So that's what we're going to talk about for the next few minutes on Here's My Take. So here's my take. I think that there are different kinds of thieves. There isn't just one kind of thief. There are several different kinds of thieves, and we'll go through those kinds of those types real quickly. So we have the thief that steals from you physical things, things you can put your hands on, right? So we're talking about stealing your purse, stealing your wallet, stealing your car, your cell phone, things like that, and even stealing your credit card number. These thieves, they put their hands on physical objects. Right behind that are intellectual thieves. These are people who attempt to steal and use ideas that do not belong to them. So we're talking about intellectual property. We're talking about trademarks and copyrights and things that are registered to you, your name, your company, and they try to take that and use it for themselves. But there's a kind of thief that um, I don't think we don't give much attention to, but these thieves are more treacherous than the other two, if you ask me. And that's because there's nothing that you can really do about these kinds of thieves. So for the first two, there are laws around them, right? You can't go out stealing people's stuff. You can't go and break in someone's house. As breaking and entering and burglarizing people, right? You can't do that. You're going to get locked up for it. You can't steal people's intellectual property. You're going to be sued for it. But what happens when someone steals something from you that's more intangible, that you can't, it's not physical, you can't register it with the patent office, right? What do you do when someone steals something from you that belongs to you, but you can't necessarily protect under the law? I call these thieves spiritual thieves. And I call them spiritual thieves because when I think of spirit, I think of something that is intangible, something that you can't put your hands on, but it's very, very real. So, what is something that a spiritual thief can steal? Well, they can steal your name, as in your reputation. They can steal your dignity. They can steal your good image, right? And how do they do this? They do this by crafting a narrative, and by projecting a narrative out there in the world about you, that is either totally false or it is embellished. And they do that, I'm feeling this already. They do that to steal, to kill, and to destroy your future. They do that to take away from you anything that God has for you. They're thieves. We don't I don't think we give much attention to these kinds of thieves again because, what do you do with them? How do you handle someone taking something from you that doesn't belong to them? Now, someone out there might be saying, well, I mean, there are laws around slander. People can't just defame you. You're right. However, um, there are some people who are a bit more deceptive in how they do this. They don't openly and publicly um, come against your name. They don't say things in an open forum that you can record and take to a judge and get them prosecuted. No, they don't do that. They do things behind the scenes. They do things in a way where you can't really fully prove that they said this, but that you know that the seed was planted by them. I'm trying to think of this word that I learned. perfidious. I think that's the word. They are perfidious. I think I'm saying that right. Perfidious. Perfidious. I think that's right. They are perfidious. They're insidious. They are deceitful in how they come about and they steal from you. And so you might be a person who has a great reputation. You might be a person who people love and they see this affection that you have and they want it for themselves. And we see this a lot that happens in church. And my background is church. My background is Christianity. So a lot of the takes that I'm going to present to you is going to come from, excuse me, it's going to come from that perspective because that's what I know. But here's the thing. Just because I use Christianity to tailor this truth that we're going to be speaking, it doesn't mean that what I'm saying is no less truth in any other area or arena. Truth is truth, no matter how you take it, right? And so I'm just going to use Christianity to put to clothe and put flesh on this truth in some of the examples that I'm going to be giving to you all. So don't be turned off if you're not Christian. Don't be turned off by those things, because in some other podcasts I'll be probably talking about other religions, some things that I know about other traditions and beliefs and things like that. But for the most part, I'm going to be using Christianity. So you probably been in a situation where someone's lied on you. You've been in a situation where someone is coming up against your name, and there's nothing you can do about it. We've seen people who attempt to explain away what happened to them. Like they might get on social media, they might, talk about it in an open way. And typically what happens is, depending on who the person is, who has come up against your name, or the person who is stealing from you, depending on their influence, people will simply tell you one or two things. Be quiet and go about your business. So you're hurting because of what someone's done to you and the new life that you have to live because of what they have said and done. So they tell you, be quiet, go about your business. Or they will call you bitter. And a close second to bitterness is anger. Oh, that person is just angry. They're angry. Not realizing that anger is a secondary or even a tertiary emotion. Anger is never a primary emotion. So if I am angry about something, it is probably because I'm feeling some other emotion that then produces anger because I feel like I can't do anything about it. And that's that I can't do anything about it persists. That's how people get bitter. But it starts with another emotion. I'm hurt and I'm angry because I can't do anything about it. I feel betrayed and I'm angry because I feel like I can't do anything. I'm disappointed and I'm angry. And as you sit in that disappointment, that betrayal, as you sit within that I said disappointment, betrayal, or even that sadness, then it turns into bitterness. So for this podcast, the question is what do? You can't take them to court. You can't get on social media and say anything about it because no one cares, right? No one cares about how you feel. No one cares about what you've gone through. They want you to shut up, move on about your life. Again, even though you're hurting because someone stole something from you that doesn't belong to them. And now people want you to act consistent with what they think of you. And that's crazy to me. Like, because you don't think that much of me, then you expect for me to not think that much of me. And I'm sorry, I think that much of me. And you aren't going to cause me to think any less of me because of something that you heard, right? But that's how people are. So they want to come around you and they come around you with that uh, this perspective or this perception of, yeah, I heard about you. I heard what you did and all of that. And now they say, we are going to treat you consistent with, or we're going to treat you commiserate with what we've heard. And that's not right. Here's my thing. I feel like I'm all over the place right now, but I'm going to get to my point. This is my first video, so just bear with me. Here's my thing. I don't care if you respect me or not. I really don't. Just don't be disrespectful. Just because you don't respect a person does not give you the right to be disrespectful. I'll say that one more time. Just because you don't respect a person does not give you the right to be disrespectful to them. I had somebody tell me before one time they said, I had lost all respect for you, right? That's fine. Just keep that over there. Don't come around me with that because the way that you see me, I don't see me like that. Okay? And my hope is that the way that people see you, if it's in a negative way, that you don't see yourself like that, right? See yourself the way that God sees you. So, what do we do? Well, the first thing is something I was telling my barber. I was getting my hair cut a couple of days ago, and my barber was like, man, I know you're always reading some. So what are you reading? What are you studying? And I was talking to him about what I'm talking to you about right now. And I said, what do you do when someone steals something from you, like your name and your reputation and things like that? And he said, oh, that's easy, because he's a minister, right? He says, oh, that's easy. He said, what you do is you pray for them, like you pray for those who persecute you. And I'm gonna tell y'all that instantly annoyed me. I was instantly annoyed by that response. And then I got into my car and I thought about it. And I said, why did that bother me so much? Because what he said was not wrong. He was right. You pray for those who persecute you. You pray for those who despitefully use you. This is the Christian perspective, right? You might have a different perspective depending on what your persuasion is, but for me it is you pray for them. And I think my issue was if someone has already taken something that's precious from me, right? The scriptures say in Proverbs, it says that to have a good name is better than silver and gold. Or in other words, my camera's kind of rocking. Give me a second, guys. Make sure camera stays stable. Okay. Um, or in other words, take my money. Don't take my name. Take my silver. Take my gold. Don't steal my reputation from me. Right? And so if you've already done that, why am I praying for you to get more? And that's what I was thinking. And I was like, wait a minute. What if, and you probably already had this revelation before me, but I'm just going to tell you my process. I said, what if instead of praying for them like God bless them, God make them prosperous on their job and their marriages and in their homes and things like that. What if instead I pray, Lord, I pray for their heart. Father, I pray for their character. Father, I pray that you have mercy on them because what I'm feeling right now, I don't want to wish that on my worst enemy. So, Father, I pray that they turn from their wicked ways. And I was like, yeah, that feels good. I was like, that actually feels right. I can do that. I can pray for my enemies if it means the Lord working on their character and their integrity and their heart. If it means that whatever they've been through in their life and their traumas that they have experienced, if it means praying for that in them, I can do that. So that's the first thing. Pray. If someone has stolen something from you, pray for them. If someone has stolen something from you, pray for their heart, pray for their character, pray that God has mercy on them. And I know some of you all still probably don't like that. However, it frees you up. And it doesn't mean that you have to consistently pray for them, but you should strive to pray for them. Whenever you think about what they took from you, you should decide in that moment, you know what? I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on praying for them. Here's the second thing that we can do. You have to be very careful that you do not share your testimony before it's time. Yes, they did it. Yes, they were intentional in taking from you. But like I said earlier, if you try to explain what happened to you too early, people will not receive it. We overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. If what you're saying has traces of bitterness in it, if it sounds like it's coming from an angry place, people will not receive it. They will listen to it because people like mess, right? They like to hear messy things, but they're not going to receive it in a way that's going to be transformative for them. They're not going to receive it that's going to change their life for the better. So you have to wait. You have to allow God to process all of this disappointment through you. The feeling of betrayal, you have to process that first. Gain the wisdom in it. And then if God releases you to share it, then you share it because there's no bitterness in it. And people will hear the heart of the Father and they will not hear your anger or the other emotions that we talked about. They're not going to hear your hurt. So those are the two things. Pray for your enemies. Wait until God releases you because he might release you to tell your testimony. He may not, right? But you wait. You wait. And it's not about being silent and not telling people what they did to you. It's not about that. It's about not throwing away a great opportunity to help someone else. Because this is one thing I'm sure of, that what they meant for evil, God will mean it for good. And that's my take. All right, y'all. See y'all next video.